My name is Chris, and I was 14 when my family decided to move to a new city. I quickly discovered that the place had a lot to offer. I quickly met a group of kids roughly my age. They often hung out on the small hill located at the edge of the city. The gang consisted of 5 friends, and his leader was a guy named Rabbit. We were fast friends and soon became inseparable. The hill became our sanctuary, a place where we could escape the worries of the world. We'd meet up there after school and spend hours talking, playing games, and just being kids. One day, Rabbit had an idea. "Hey, let's spend the night on the hill." We exchanged uncertain glances, but the thrill of adventure was too tempting to resist. After a bit of planning and some reassurances from Rabbit, we decided to go ahead with his plan. We brought along some lanterns, and we all packed some food. As the sky darkened, we ascended the hill, our laughter echoing in the cool night air. The hill was enveloped in shadows, but our lanterns pushed back the darkness, casting eerie, dancing patterns across the grass. We settled in, forming a circle and sharing ghost stories that sent shivers down our spines. As the night wore on, the sky became a tapestry of stars, and the world below seemed distant and insignificant. I leaned back, gazing up at the endless expanse of the universe, and for a moment all my worries and fears dissolved. That's when I saw it. A dark figure sat near the edge of the hill, just beyond the faint reach of our lanterns. I squinted, thinking it was Rabbit playing one of his tricks. "Hey, Rabbit," I called out, chuckling. "Nice try, man." But there was no response. The figure remained motionless, a silent silhouette against the night sky. The others turned to look at what had caught my attention, and they joked, "Rabbit, you really need to work on your pranks." Chris saw through it immediately. I reached for a lantern and flicked it on, aiming the light towards the figure. My heart froze in my chest as the light revealed the face of the person sitting on the edge. It wasn't Rabbit. The stranger's eyes were hollow and devoid of emotion, and his face was pale and ghostly. I could feel my friend's unease as we all stared at this intruder, who seemed to have materialized out of thin air. Then, Rabbit's voice came from behind me. "Chris, you're playing a weird game, man. Who is that?" I turned to look at Rabbit, my heart pounding in my chest. But as I did, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Rabbit's hand, cold and trembling, as he whispered, "Chris, that's not me." With dread coiling in my stomach, I slowly turned my head to see the figure on the edge, his eyes locked onto mine. My voice quivered as I stammered, "Then who are you?" But before I could process the answer, Rabbit called my name once more, a quiver of fear in his voice. As I turned back to him, the stranger on the edge disappeared, leaving only the empty hillside behind. "Chris, who are you talking to?" Rabbit asked, clearly bewildered. But the terror I'd just experienced couldn't be denied. "I don't know, Rabbit," I said, my voice shaking. "I don't know who or what that was, but it wasn't you." Rabbit's eyes darted around the hill, searching for any sign of the stranger. The others exchanged worried glances, and the playful atmosphere we'd once enjoyed was shattered. With the lanterns held close, we hastily packed up our belongings and began our descent from the hill, our hearts racing and our minds filled with unease. The stranger's presence had shaken us to our core, and none of us could explain how he'd disappeared without a trace. The night that had started with the promise of adventure had taken a dark and unsettling turn. We made our way down the hill in silence, our footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. The sense of danger seemed to hang in the air, and we couldn't get away from that place fast enough. Once we reached the safety of the city's lights, our collective relief was palpable. We didn't speak of the stranger for the rest of the night. In the days that followed, we tried to convince ourselves that what we'd seen was a trick of the imagination, a shared hallucination caused by our anticipation and fear. But deep down, we knew it was all too real. The stranger remained an enigma, a mystery that none of us could solve. But the fear he'd instilled in us that night served as a stark reminder of the thin boundary between the world we knew and the darkness that lurked just beyond.